microphone's on. Hi, Tara.
I believe we're ready to begin. Very good. We'll begin the Planning Committee meeting of Akron City Council. I would like to request a roll call, please.
Fusco.
Aye.
Kamer.
Aye.
Connor. Baylor.
Aye.
Mosley.
Aye.
All committee members are present except for Connor.
Thank you. I'd also like to request that we approve the minutes of the previously held meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Very good, the ayes have it. We do have one item that's up for a public hearing this afternoon as well as this evening. The procedure will be that we will read in the conditional use request that's proposed. Afterward, we will then receive a report from our law department, from our planning department. After that report, we will then have our clerk of council, Sarah Biviano, swear in any individuals that wish to testify before the committee. After that, we'll then open up the public hearing and ask for input from the public. If there's anyone in favor or anyone against a proposed the conditional use request, if there's questions, you'll have that opportunity. After that, we'll close the public hearing. We'll then open it up to questions from the committee and then questions from all of council. So with that, the first public hearing today will be ordinance authorizing a conditional use to establish an adult daycare at 222 Jewett Street. Mr. Antonucci.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Betty Brazil is requesting permission to establish an adult daycare home at this location. The proposed daycare, known as Faith and Mercy Homes, would occupy 2 floors of the 3-story colonial dwelling. Living and dining room areas on the first floor would be utilized for educational and recreational activities, while bedrooms on the first and second floor would be utilized as rest areas if needed. The daycare would be staffed from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. The petitioner stated there will always be at least 2 staff members on site during hours of operation. The adult daycare center will offer individually centered programs designed to enhance daily living skills for up to 5 adults. Although the daycare will specialize in patients with Alzheimer's, it can accommodate people with other needs. Besides providing daily breakfast and lunch, clients will be taken on weekly community-based outings. No changes to the exterior of the building nor signage are proposed. Petitioners stated that transportation will be provided for their clients whom are either referred from Medicaid or families with private insurance. A 2-car garage with a lengthy driveway will provide ample off-street storage. Since transportation will be provided for the clients and all activities will occur during daytime hours, the proposed use should not be intrusive to the abutting properties. However, this properly maintained Middlebury property is in a dense neighborhood near the terminus of Jewett Street. As such, the number of clients on site should not exceed 5, which is consistent with the maximum number of unrelated people permitted to live in a single-family dwelling. Providing quality daycare service is beneficial to the entire city, and as such, the planning staff supports the request. Office of Integrated Development, Planning Staff, and Planning Commission recommend approval.
Thank you for that report, Mr. Antonucci. At this time, I'll ask Sarah Biviano, our clerk of council, to please swear in any individuals that wish to testify before the committee today.
Could you please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth? If so, please say I do. I do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll open up the public hearing at this time and ask if there's anyone here wishing to speak in favor of the conditional use request. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Okay. No one online. Is there anyone wishing to speak against? If you could please.
I'm speaking against.
Okay, thank you. If you could please provide for us your name and address. Thank you.
My name is Arita Williams, 226 Jewett. I live right next door to this house, and I disagree because I think it should be monitored. We already having problems in the neighborhood with different houses that have people that's been in jail, and they trying to clean them up, and most of them are, I know of 3 houses right in the area. We have a park right across the street. So if they pass this ordinance, they have to have somewhere to park, they have to be monitored, and who's going to monitor, and the selection of individuals that will be living there, you know. And people already in here are in some monitored programs. So I would like to know how they're gonna maintain it, far as who's gonna be in control of the people going in and out, because our driveways are the same, right next to each other.
Okay.
And I would like to know about, you know, how it's gonna be controlled. And being that there's a park across the street, they just fixed that park up. They have nowhere to park at right now. They need like a roundabout to get in and out of there. If they have to go to the doctors and stuff, they have to go, the buses, if they have a bus that picks them up and stuff, they would have to pull all the way down, which is barricaded for the train. It's the train tracks are at the end of the road. They'd have to pull all the way down, turn around to get out, because it's a dead end street also. So that's when they fixed that park up. They didn't realize that they had nowhere to park at. And the park looks good. It looks great.
Yeah.
But where they're gonna park at? You can't, on one side of the street, you can't park at all. So I don't think that our vehicles should be blocked in when we come home from work, you know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah, what I'd like to do is facilitate a meeting with the petitioner and the planning folks, perhaps on site this week sometime, so you can get some of your questions answered.
Okay.
Not unless, I don't see the petitioners here, but I think we should facilitate that meeting, and whatever accommodates your schedule. After the meeting tonight, or this afternoon, I should say, I'll get with you, get your information, and then we'll set that up. Okay, Mr. Antonucci? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for taking time this afternoon. Is there anyone else wishing to speak against this conditional use request on Jewett Street? Anyone else? Okay, very good. We'll close the public hearing. We'll ask if there's any committee members with any questions or comments at this time. I know that there has been some investment in terms of the park across the street, aware of that. Ms. Mosley, I'd mentioned that I will be facilitating a meeting with I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Arita, that's right, Arita, and the planning folks and perhaps the petitioner this week. And so we'll, if anyone wants to attend, of course, they're welcome to. But I'll get your information afterwards. Any other questions or comments from anyone? Okay, not hearing any. Very good. We'll move on to the balance of the agenda, close the public hearing, and short of any questions or concerns referenced, the regular agenda will move into the new list, which I believe there's one, correct?
That is correct.
Yes, if clerk to read that in.
This is item number 2, ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to negotiate, enter into, execute, and deliver agreements and/or other documents in connection with the sale and development of 4 vacant residential parcels located on Cross Street, consisting of approximately .24 acres of city-owned land, located between Kling and Brown Streets and existing as Summit County parcel number 6716955, 6716958, 6716961, and 6853328, authorizing the sale of said property to Braymore Development LLC, determining said property as not needed for public use, and declaring an emergency.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Volman?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Flesko, committee, and council members. We are looking to sell 4 vacant parcels on Cross Street the company's name is Braymore, for development of residential housing. And if you have any specifics on the project itself, Mr. Messner's here, can answer them.
Yes, is there, this is for, you had mentioned that the person persons we're selling this to is going to develop this as residential, did you say?
Residential, correct.
Okay. Is there, will they be coming in for zoning or anything, or is it a,
I believe it's zoned for it.
It's zoned two-family, and they plan on putting a two-family residence on the property.
okay, so it's within our current guidelines?
That is correct.
Very good. Good. Okay. Further questions or comments from any committee members, any council members? Mr. Malik?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Mr. Volman and Mr. Messner. Just a couple questions. First, so it's going to be one two-family residence?
At a minimum, he'll be required to build one two-family residence. He could potentially put two there.
Okay, yeah, because I was looking at it as about a quarter of an acre, right? So it is a rather sizable piece of property. And then is it going to be geared towards students, or has the developer shared any details about that?
He would like to gear it towards students. I guess the current market dynamics over there have kind of changed over the years. So that is his end goal, is to have it for students, hence the option agreement and the way it's structured. So we're going to give it a little bit of time to see how the market develops.
Okay, and then I guess just understanding how this came about, did the developer approach us, or did we put this out for a bid, or?
No, the developer, who's an adjacent property owner, reached out to us about what was going on with the neighboring property.
Okay, do you know how many properties they own in the area? Is it just that one property, or?
They own multiple. I'm not sure how many. I'd say it's probably more than 10. I don't know the upper limit.
Okay, thank you.
Solid?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Although I'm not a member of the standing committee, I do have just a question for the administration. What, if any, notice was triggered to the adjacent neighbors under our system of notification by this transaction?
Well, the planning, when it goes to planning commission, when sale goes to planning commission, it follows those rules. They would have received notification.
So all contiguous neighbors, and it sounds like one of them actually knows all about the plan because he is in fact, or she is the developer. So the neighbor on the other side and the neighbors across the street, is that right?
I'm loath to say exactly what without having it in front of me, but Mike, you? So it wouldn't have been direct.
So essentially for things like conditional uses and text changes in zoning code, we do send mailers out, which is because it's required by city council to actually mail notices to abutting property owners. For sales of property, we put an ad in the Beacon Journal, essentially for the Planning Commission. So that's a public hearing.
Okay, thank
So
you.
that's-
That is why I didn't want to say something.
And just so all members are aware, this neighboring property owner, Braymore, as well as another landlord, a developer in the area, were both notified originally when we identified this parcel to see if they wanted to acquire it back in 2020. Almost all of the adjacent homes are rental units.
Mosley?
Thank you. A few questions. You said that the developer owns multiple properties in that community. Do we know if he has any kind of housing complaints, violations?
I reached out to housing and we did not find any existing complaints or violations.
And they're all within that University of Akron footprint?
I believe they are, but I'm not entirely certain if they're all within that footprint.
If you could get me that list, I'd appreciate it. I know you said something about the developer or the owner of the company lives in that neighborhood?
I'm not
Or
sure
the
if you,
actual company, because I thought this company is owned by Jack Morrison.
the
Yeah,
company
no, I
is
don't
owned
think
by
they
Jack.
live in the neighborhood. They own the adjacent parcel, is I think what he,
Yeah, I didn't mean to indicate he lives in the neighborhood. I'm not sure where he lives.
Okay. All right. If you could get me the list of those properties,
list
I'd
of them.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Very good. Further questions or comments? Is consent agenda okay on this one? Seems to be a couple open questions,
certainly, yes.
so we can get those answered. Okay. Is there a recommendation for consent agenda? I'll make it. Consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of consent agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? The ayes have it. Thank you. I believe that's all to come before the planning committee, and we're
Thank you very much.
adjourned. Thanks.
Our next committee of the day will be the Rules Committee. Those committee members are Freeman, Fusco, Amobian, Connor, and Malik. Again, that's the Rules Committee, and it will begin at 2 o'clock. Thank you.